Hola a todos, compañeros de metal, acá Capitan Hiroshima en un nuevo video de Disco Elusium. En el capítulo anterior nos habíamos quedado justo al final de sacar por fin el cuerpo del árbol. Y ahora nos depara la mini autopsia que vamos a hacer ahora. ¿Podremos sacar la parte de las botas de la armadura? Lo veremos ahora. A ver.
The rotting man lies on his side with his eyes looking straight through you. The belt is still around his neck. His body is supine and open to intrusion by autopsy.
Otra cosa. Tenemos 2 puntos de habilidad ahora. Antes de seguir con eso, yo creo que voy a autoridad y por el tema este de la mora. Perfecto. Aceptar. Y nos habían dado también otro punto de estos. No sé cuál. Creo que este. Sí, este. Nos habían dado por el choque. Choker 5.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Bueno, esto ya lo hemos completado. Antes de meternos en faena, ¿qué es una autopsia de campo exactamente? ¿En qué te la No.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
Eso es cierto.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Mundi, is the world's highest summit, and the failure of the 38 single, Et puis descend, to crack the top 20 was the death knell of disco. But what a field autopsy is, you have no idea.
Ni por joder la idea, o sea, sabemos algo muy específico sobre una montaña de 18,9 kilómetros de lejos y no sabemos qué carajo es una autopsia de campo. ¿Por qué no porque no lo sabes? ¿De qué sirve? Frotar con las manos aguantadas. Venga, al meollo.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity.
No lo tengo claro. ¿Qué quieres decir?
I mean when I need you to. Until then, I should handle physical contact, and you should take notes.
Solo hay que rellenar esto, ¿no? Mostrarle el formulario de autopsia de campo debajo de tu portapapeles. Right. Así es. A ver tu portapapeles. Intenta quitarle las botas. No, porque eso había que hacerlo lejos de Kim. Así que vamos a abrir el portapapeles.
The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition of his skin and organs in 3 parts. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first. It begins with...
De 11 campos. Comenzar. 1. Ayudante. Vamos directos al resumen de 3 partes. Para una autopsia un momento.
No.
Hola.
Let's fill out the info form first.
Bueno, vale. Ayudante.
That's you.
Escribir las iniciales de HDB.
The corpse is indifferent to your scribblings. Just lies there. The next box says...
Forense número...
KK57-0803.0815.
Perfecto.
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date 0803 and time of arrival 0815 on the scene. He's indexed the case after himself, not you.
Hubiera estado muy roto, pero rotísimo, que la hora concordada esta le dijera. Pero claro, es un trabajo detrás de muy gordo, porque tendré que decir cada horario de cada minuto y sería un quilombo, así que la entiendo. Pero hubiera estado muy bueno que el horario de este concordara con este.
That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
¿No deberemos rellenar el caso forense con mis datos? Técnicamente llegué a la escena del crimen antes que tú. Anotar.
Next.
No.
NA. Next.
Fecha de nacimiento. Edad.
Roughly 50.
50 años.
Try 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young side.
Voy a poner 42.
He nods.
Mondial.
Ras. Mundial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Muindi. This is as vague as it gets. You might as well say whitish.
Blanquito.
The pudgy mess of curdled meat looks neither mondial nor anything other.
Sexo.
Fucky, fucky!
Exclama la monstruita enérgicamente.
Male.
Varón.
Pigs can have sex!
Anotar ñaca ñaca. Escribir varón. Anotar los cerdos a una folla. No.
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly and indistinguishable face.
Fecha de
We're
muerte.
still going with March 4th. 51. What else? 9. Body identified by is non-applicable. 10. Case number is the same as the coroner's case.
KK 57 0503 0815 listens motionless, with the cargo belt still around his neck. Only one box remains.
Pruebas de manipulación.
None. At least not after the initial examination.
Una cosa, ¿qué es la manipulación estrictamente? Yo no estaré tan seguro. No daba a entender las huellas que lo llevaron en brazos. Coincido, sin manipulación. Yo no estaré tan seguro.
A silent nod. The lieutenant places his gloved hand on the corpse's chest, as if in preparation. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Ecclesiastic, religious in nature, a holdout from pre-DeLorean burial rites. It takes him 2 seconds to perform. Then,
We should start the post-mortem.
Pasar
the
la página.
corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer meaningfully interacts with its surroundings. A thicket of boxes and lists on red copier paper tries to answer why.
Examen externo, resumen. Examen interno, resumen. Descripción de lesiones, resumen. Intentar quitarle las botas al carro. 1. Examen externo.
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs. The make of the briefs is Babrodin, I think. Let's see.
De comprobar la etiqueta de la ropa interior.
See, it's happening.
Que se lo follen, sí.
Babrodin, yes. Inexpensive. Size M. Color white.
The disappointment is palpable. The red-haired thing was expecting something more lurid.
The boots
Anotarlo.
are ceramic. Vitreous enamel. They are fused to his skin from blood flowing downward post-mortem. Removal of the boots is left for processing.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
¿Cuándo las voy a conseguir? Omitir el detalle de las botas, anotarlo.
Patience. After the autopsy, before the body is taken away, there will be a window of opportunity. After the lieutenant has gone to sleep. I hope this has helped you, my liege.
¡Oh! O sea, paciencia. Después de la autopsia, antes de que se lleve el cuerpo, habrá una ventana de oportunidad cuando el teniente se haya ido a dormir. Espero que os haya ayudado, mi señor. Claro, a la noche. A lo mejor esta noche. Sí. Omitir el detalle de las botas. Claro, pero después, si hacemos esto, puede llegar a haber una conversación de Kim preguntándonos sobre las botas y además pedirle una revisión del caso de la autopsia. Yo me la jugaría. Yo me la jugaré. Si no, salvo que le pidamos a los que hacen después la autopsia, o sea, termina la autopsia, que nos den la armadura. Pero el que no arriesga no gana. Así que omitir el detalle de las botas.
Note, the boot has a hidden serial number on it.
Además,
It's
que le dimos mal.
E50.100.
Ah, no. La he leído por su cuenta. Entonces, ¿se habrá dado cuenta que hemos dado mal el código antes?
Which the assistant detective inexplicably reported to me as X5415.
Apa.
Something.
A ver.
Why was that, assistant detective?
It was merely a jest. Horseplay. The impression of you being a total psychopath.
Que es un puto psicópata es erróneo. Una pequeña broma. Bromas de vestuario. Los chicos son así. ¿Querés saber lo que pasa si lo decían mal? Mira, es que soy un puto psicópata. Miento siempre que puedo. No. Pone. Seguir inventando tus números y letras al azar. Pero teniente, eso es imposible.
I fail to see any humor in it. Officer, please write down the right serial number. E50.100.100.
Bitches are at it. This pleases Kuno.
Vamos a creer bien.
Tattoos.
Claro, pero después si supongamos que también obtenemos las botas y Kim nos pide que lea el código, ¿se lo podremos borrar? Es que si es así el juego nos da una ventana de posibilidades muy grande. En este caso, más que nada. Tatuajes. Se pone en pie con los pies plantados en ambos lados del cuerpo.
The upper torso is covered in a single continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches from the right shoulder to the heart. The ink is blue and white. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using a Trigat Mini. The deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Color, yellow. Length, 3 meters. There is a buckle on the other end. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Generally consistent with age 42. Preservation is good. Ambient temperature, below freezing. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with age. The deceased had male pattern baldness. Hair is combed back, short.
Típica cabello peinado hacia atrás corto. Tocar el cabello del cabello antes de seguir. Escribir corto, marrón, claro, calvicie masculina típica.
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are present on the head, chest, and thighs. Consistent with stones thrown post-mortem. Low velocity.
Fucking low velocity? You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking about? Velocity was fucking max. Talking shit about Kuno's velocity.
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest. Consistent with predation.
Nosotros poner. No,
Ligature mark.
Marcas de ligadura. El teniente saca una pequeña navaja pegable. Comienza a cortar el poliéster mientras manipula la cinta con la otra mano.
Steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the belt so we can get to the ligature mark.
Necesitamos retirar la cinta para poder llegar a la marca de la ligadura.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
El cortapernos. Vamos a preparar. Acariciar el cortapernos. Menos mal que tenemos este cortapernos. Sacar el cortapernos con mangos de goma.
The hanged man lets out a joyous little bubble of rot from his nose.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark below. Carefully, with as much precision as you can.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head off.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
Sí, estoy de acuerdo, soy el sordo del Kuno. A ver. Cortar la cinta, no, hermano. Buscar un buen punto de...
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread rising from the east. The knot is the weak spot. The chain cutters fit in there, steady now, like a flower arranger. 2 cuts and it should come loose.
72%. Yeah.
After some deliberation, you sink the cutters into the knot tying the belt together. You squeeze the rubber handles together, sweat forming on your brow.
Apretar.
Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the dark red ligature mark around it.
The rope rises to a point, leaving a gap in the ligature mark. The suspension point is in the back of the neck. Hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant, pelvis intact, genitalia...
No! It's gonna happen, see!
I fucking knew it!
Una puto sabia.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury.
No, estoy seguro de...
Back is symmetrical and intact. Upper and lower extremities are intact, but asymmetrical. There are combat injuries on the right hand, thigh, and hip. In addition, I see smaller, residual scars, too numerous to count, covering about 30% of his skin.
Pequeñas cicatrices.
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades, dispersal and accumulation indicates long and active combat duty.
Tiene demasiadas cicatrices, mucho más de las que un agente de ley.
We have a real museum here. Of battle. Last item. Hands.
Coger la mano, dejar tener trabajo tranquilo.
Hands are clean. No sign of a recent struggle.
¿Esperábamos alguna?
I was. Maybe I'm just not seeing them. Honestly, this stench is making it hard for me to think at the moment. Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next?
Examen interno.
Central nervous system. I have nothing. Do you have anything on this man's central nervous system?
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this story.
¿Puedo añadir la moraleja de esta historia? No, es que...
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement to hear the moral of his story.
El cerebro es muy vulnerable a la escasez de su suministro de sangre.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer.
Pondré
Good.
NA.
Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone. Let's see.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand on the dead man's throat and begins to massage it, gently. A rotting smell erupts from the mouth. Purge fluid runs down his lips, black and viscous. You hear cracks as the lieutenant moves his sharp fingers inside the flesh, like the creaking of an old house at night.
Yeah, jack that fucker off!
Dale un pajote el cabrón.
The
Hijo de
hyoid
puta
bone is
cuna.
fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is intact. Unremarkable.
Nada, joder. What?
Respiratory system.
Sistema respiratorio se detiene para ejercer más fuerza con ambas manos.
Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen. Hemorrhaging present in mucosa of the lips and mouth.
Mira, atento de la boca del mar.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there. Sickly sweet air, unlike anything living. You feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his.
Anotarlo.
Hepatobiliary. NA.
¿Por qué no tenemos nada?
Are you a hepatobiliary expert?
Hepato means liver, and biliary, the gallbladder and bile ducts.
¿Soy experto en algo de eso?
Nothing in your alcohol-soaked memory directs to having forensic expertise on either one.
No lo creo.
Neither am I.
Yo tampoco. ¿Y ya está?
That's it.
Hay que creer en Neo.
Same for toxicology and serology, NA.
¿Ambas?
Unless you have untapped reservoirs of knowledge there.
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
Encajaría en el formulario de trivialidades pocos conocidas y curiosidades extrañas. El perfeccionista que hay en mí se pregunta si aún hay algo que podemos hacer.
Like a toxicology screening? At this stage, I doubt processing will find anything, even if he was brimming with cocaine. But still, you should add a request. Cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the hands, feet, and neck. Hypostasis is visually consistent with the hanging. Gastrointestinal.
Suelta un suspiro de alivio. Este es el último campo de la lista. Mira su alrededor, al suelo, al charco de ice.
This will do.
Esto servirá.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voilà.
Dice comida. Sólida, indigesta, ¿verdad? Voilà. Anotar y omitir el voilà.
What's next on the list?
Descripción de las lesiones, resumen.
Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 fields. Leave a 4th one too.
Continuar.
Be thorough if you want maximum results.
Sé muy concienzudo si quieres un resultado óptimo. Marcas de mordeduras, contusiones, marca de ligadura, finalización autopsia. ¿Para qué el cuarto campo? ¿Para qué el cuarto campo?
Nothing. Just in case.
Contusiones.
So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it post-mortem.
At maximum velocity, fucko!
Ah, pero sí determina.
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man. Beneath, the description of injury. 2 boxes.
Opinión. Lesión mortal. No mortal, post-mortem. Creo que...
Right. Next.
Marcas de mordeduras.
Head, chest, and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has caused damage to the body. Odontologist does not need to be consulted.
Anotarlo.
And your opinion, officer?
Opinión, lesión mortal. No mortal, post-mortem.
Agreed. Next injury?
Marca de ligador, finalización autopsia.
A dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring, let's say, 7 centimeters. The hyoid bone is fractured, the cervical column intact. I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of the mark, 1 centimeter. No signs of clawing on the neck.
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the side. The ring around his neck is visible. Think for a moment. There's time. Don't rush.
Opinión, lesión mortal. Yo creo que es una lesión mortal.
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much to be questioned. But it's a start. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy.
Perfecto, completamos la tarea. Se saca un rollo de plástico negro de la chaqueta, una bolsa para cadáveres. Acabamos con esto. Doy por concluir la autopsia de campo. Lo primero es primero. ¿Cómo ha ido?
Well, we established probable cause of death. Some would say that's the goal of an autopsy. We also requested a toxicological screening. That was thorough. The results should arrive in a couple of weeks, if we are lucky. I will not hold my breath.
¿Qué más?
We were thorough with the list of injuries too. We described them all in detail. What is there to say? Given the circumstances, it was a professional field autopsy.
¿Y ahora?
I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg.
Arrancar una copia del formulario de
for
Autopsia.
processing.
El procesamiento. Mira al muerto una vez más, luego el trozo de papel rojo de su mano y luego el cadáver otra vez. Notaré, envía el cuerpo de la víctima a procesamiento.
You tilt your head, also looking at the corpse. I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something.
Intenta quitarle las botas del cadáver, percepción de género, examinar el cadáver minuciosamente una vez más. Deja de perder el tiempo, eres listo. Estableciste la causa probable. Muy enterado. Primero vamos por esto.
I'm gone.
Uno que se ha ido. ¿A dónde te has ido? Ya veo que te has ido, pero ¿quién eres? ¿Qué te pasa, no? Te odio, apetas y aburres. Ya basta.
I'm a joke. Look at me.
No tiene nada de gracioso. Ahora sí que lo eres, pero ¿quién eras cuando estabas vivo?
A killer. A motherfucker. And a killer.
Tengo que hacerte otra pregunta.
Go ahead, Kobo.
Madre. ¿A dónde te has ido? ¿Qué está pasando?
What do you mean?
Pues que estoy hablando contigo.
It's the power of your
En su nave.
imagination.
Eso es justamente lo que está pasando ahora mismo.
Go ahead. Ask me more questions. You fucking love questions.
Porque me encantan tanto las preguntas.
Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions?
Dame una cantidad irrisoria de preguntas. Sí, dame preguntas.
Here you go, loony.
¿Me llamo lunático?
Fuck no. You're no Rooney.
Es obvio que no me llamo lunático.
Between you and me, your name is probably Harry.
Harry. Últimamente han llamado a Harry con bastante frecuencia. No puedo dar un menú. ¿De veras? ¿Crees que podrán llamar a Harry?
You might be onto something there.
¿Por qué siento que he olvidado algo terrible?
Because you have. Into the wild pale yonder.
¿Y dónde está eso?
In the past. Way out west.
En el paso muy al oeste. ¿Será una pequeña pista que nos estará dando el juego? Muy al oeste. Ok.
Come back later, Coppo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible. Also, see me in your dreams.
Dime algo, hombre.
Shoot, Looney Rooney.
No. Te odio.
Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
Una criatura en las profundidades, a mí mismo, en el espejo del baño, me veo afectado por la...
You sure wrinkled out of that one, Coppolini.
Ya va.
Come back later, Coppo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible. Also, see me in your dreams.
En tus sueños, ¿ah?
You run your hands over the victim's cold body, his limbs, his torso with its swollen organs. Maybe you should be more thorough. His fingernails have turned dark. They're chipped and quite long. There is dirt under them.
Do you think we missed something?
Sí, hay algo que no estamos viendo.
Okay, well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to conduct another examination, and we need to do it fast.
¿No puede aguantar así un poco más? Vale, pero ¿de dónde sacamos un refrigerador para el cuerpo?
It would have to be industrial in size. Let's start by asking Gart at the Whirling in Rags and the Fritz store down at the gates. If they don't know, but only if all else fails.
Se calla y fija la mirada en Kuno, pero solo si todos los demás. Vale.
Fuck are you looking at, Beano man? You want a piece of the Kuno? Wanna get fucked?
¿Quieres movida?
Only if all else fails.
Okay.
Kuno looks like he gets around. Knows Martinez. And its fridges too, probably.
Primero necesitamos echar otro vistazo al cuerpo.
Hurry. This is one task we cannot sideline. With every hour, whatever we are looking for will become harder to find.
Será más difícil encontrar. A la bolsa. No, irte. Ok. Bien. Entonces ahora mismo hay que ir, pero a todo ojete, a conseguir primero un refrigerador. Así que hay que hablar con Garte. Empatía. Es que conecte con la manipulación. ¿Ser titiretero o empatía? No, manipulación. A ver. Congela el cuerpo de la víctima. Primero vamos a ver. Pregunta a la gente si sabe dónde hay una nevera. Ahí está. Sí, tengo medio raro ahí la cámara. A ver. Pero ahora que lo pienso, si vamos a llevar un cuarto de un refrigerador, no es de buena idea, por así decirlo. Estos serán los... Bueno, con este ya hemos hablado, pero capaz que podamos hablar de nuevo. Es cuestión de dinero. A ver si hablando con la señora acá no podrá decir algo. What? Bueno, volvemos. Lo que pasó recién es que por alguna extraña razón el juego se me cagó crashando, así que menos mal que tenemos el autosave. Es un ratito. Así que no pasa nada interesante. Hola, no, cielo. Veo que te has reunido con tus compañeros. Viene el teniente. El teniente asiente adecuadamente.
Wait, who's...
Hello again, sweetie. I see you've met up with your colleague.
The lieutenant nods politely.
¿Quién es Cielito? ¿Significa eso que le gusta?
Why, you are, officer.
Puede que sí sea.
And have you found anyone to be sweet to?
No, por ahora estoy harto de rituales de paramiento, no lo sé. Guiñarle un ojo tal vez. En su DC, guiñarle un ojo 2 veces. Pero la par.
What was with that fucking wink?
Para de guiñar el ojo. Comprate en la cabeza para corregir el mal funcionamiento. No, es probable que sea un daño neurológico permanente.
I see you are still grieving. Well, I won't pry. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself.
De presentarme.
I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
Okay.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Contrátala ahora mismo. Así que sí, le gustaría venir conmigo. No sé si se ha dado cuenta, pero no fui ni quién... o sea, no sé ni quién soy, ni de dónde estoy, ni qué estoy haciendo, ni nada de nada. Este cielito necesita dinero. ¿Hay dinero para el cielito?
Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh my. You know where we are, right?
Estamos en el lechón.
That's right. And where is the Whirling in Rags cafeteria itself located?
En lechón.
Yes, indeed. We are in the fine city of Revachol.
Realizar es la deshonrada capital del mundo, algo así.
Yes, great. See? We're getting somewhere. What else do you know about our city of splendor? Tattered as she may be.
¿Qué clase de sitio es?
How would I even begin to tell you? Revachol is the most beautiful city in the world.
Yo no
We're
diría
fortunate to be
que
here.
fuera
you and
muy
I.
hermosa, que digamos, por ahora.
I haven't seen very many other cities personally, but everyone says so. Revachol is a rare jewel. This city used to rule the world, though it has seen better days. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes?
Estamos en la primavera del 51, claro. Es el año 973. Todo lo que sé es que nos acercamos al final de los tiempos.
That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Okay.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
I can tell that this is taxing
Hostia.
for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government?
¿Qué tipo de gobierno? ¿Algún tipo de democracia tal vez? Me gustaría pensar que es la dictadura del pueblo orientado. Pero algo me dice que no es así. Nuestros líderes son feroces guerreros que atraviesan las llanuras en corceles. La civilización tiembla a nuestro paso. Nos gobiernan máquinas inteligentes que realizan cálculos para determinar el mercado más libre. Todo el mundo quiere triunfar y emprender como si fueran unos visionarios del copón. Las radios se usan para controlar la mente de la gente y distorsionar nuestra percepción de la realidad, ocultando así nuestros verdaderos amos, los extranjeros y las mujeres. La policía, vivimos bajo un régimen policial. Yo solo sé que es todo culpa del 5G. No, mentira. ¿Algún tipo de democracia tal vez?
Nope. Sadly not. Revachol is what's called a zone of control, under an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have no government of our own, and what democracy we have is market-driven.
Meaning, buying is voting.
Si no hay gobierno, ¿cómo es que hay policías? Ni siquiera sé qué decir, estoy tan decepcionado.
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
Esto, ¿qué tal lo he hecho? Es que esta revolución queda... ¿Qué es esta revolución que... Esto está...
You were doing quite well up until the end there. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things. History and places. Remembering reality in a word. It's...
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary, so I wouldn't worry too much. A defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago.
Hace 42 años. ¿Qué tiene que ver eso con que no haya policías? Pero soy un poli. Sea lo que sea, no me va a detener.
It has something to do with everything. I really don't know how to explain it better.
Ok. ¿Qué podré
Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
Nueva conversación con el teniente.
No. I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez.
That's a good point. This doesn't look like Rich Central.
Ricópolis, precisamente. No tengo guía.
Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
Bien, perfecto. A ver qué nos ha dado la señora. Objetos. Lo podemos vender. Un móvil con una cabeza de simio verde en su extremo. El simio tiene los ojos cerrados y una expresión afable en su rostro. Parece estar meditando. Ok. No podemos interactuar con nadie prácticamente. Tenemos que beber y después cantar. Esas son las misiones que tenemos que hacer.
Can I help you?
Al parecer necesito una nevera.
Yes, yes. For the dead body. You want to put a dead corpse into my fridge, right?
Sí.
Correct him.
No queremos meter un cadáver esencial en tu nevera. Sí, básicamente eso.
Well, I have a fridge, and you're not putting it here.
Ni siquiera voy a preguntar por qué me soltarás algo mezquino.
This is a culinary establishment, not a morgue. You don't have to ask me why you can't store a dead body in my kitchen.
Continuando.
It would only be for...
Lieutenant, you too? You're asking too? No. The answer is no. I will not turn this place into some kind of macabre circus.
Let's go talk to the frit clerk.
Dependiente frite. Ah, con la de al lado. Sí. Ok. Son las 20:38. No, después de hablar con ella, venimos acá a hacer las dos misiones secundarias que tenemos. Así que vamos primero a hablar con la adolescente que está atendiendo el comercio chiquito, el kiosco, por así decirlo. Tampoco la jardinera debe saber si... Bueno, no creo que sepa algo. Así que pasemos de ella. Pero la verdad es que tenemos muchas misiones secundarias. Varias son que se completan a lo largo de la historia.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
Oh, primero esta.
Reality? You mean what reality? Economic reality or...
She is like a student unexpectedly called upon by a teacher. Can she answer the classroom question?
I don't really know anything. I mean, I'm 15.
Entonces, ¿qué pasa con la realidad física?
I don't know. What about it?
¿Dónde estamos? ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué es la revolución? La coalición. ¿Sabes lo que es?
Our government?
Ok.
Or do you mean something else? Sorry, I really need to finish this article.
¿Qué es la revolución?
When ordinary people take over the government and demand democracy. Yeah, it happened like 50 years ago or so. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. At history, I mean.
No volveremos a con estas tonterías.
Cool.
Bien. ¿Tienes una nevera?
Right behind you.
Vaya, eso sí que es una nevera genial. Necesitamos meter un fiambre dentro.
Yeah.
Necesito meter un fiambre adentro, bueno.
She's playing with her hair, engrossed in a magazine.
Right. You're joking, right?
Pues creo que era una broma toser. Una broma pesada. Meter la nevera encuadrando con los dedos y cerrar un ojo, da igual, de todos modos. ¿No cabría? No, no es una broma. Tengo que meter el cadáver de acá.
Okay. It wouldn't even fit, you know.
Now that I'm looking at it, Maybe a glass-doored fridge in a public grocery store isn't the best option for storing a corpse.
Qué pena, habré sido precioso. Supongo que tienes razón. Además, no creo que la nevera es demasiado pequeña. Bueno, gracias, etnodependiente. Puta madre.
Okay.
Bueno, vamos a tener una lección general. Estás completamente perdido. Lena te ha animado a preguntarle a la gente que para que te explique cómo funciona el mundo con todo el lujo de detalle. Quizás deberías preguntarle a un rico. Los ricos son gente muy preparada. A lo mejor podemos hablar con el que está adentro. Ojalá el cuerpo del grupo. Pregunta a la gente si sabe si hay alguna nevera. Habrá que hablar con la gente de la calle. Pero ¿cómo? A ver, podremos preguntarle, porque todavía no entramos, por ejemplo, en la biblioteca. Así que podremos preguntar ahí. Podremos preguntar al camionero racista. Y no mucho más. Todavía nos falta por explorar. O sea, literalmente, de lo que vamos, no hemos. Toda esta gente. Esto de acá, eso. Tenemos una WhatsApp por explorar. Este. ¿Qué nos dice? ¿Sobre el mundo?
Looking for something odd? Come to tell me to fuck off again?
Has dicho algo sobre los derechos y privilegios de los camioneros, ¿no?
Oh yeah, they're a big deal. My great-grandfather was a carter. Had a royal license and everything. We've tried to hold on to our privileges.
Un momento, ¿qué es un carretero?
Someone with a cart. What did you think it was? That's how deep into history our thing reaches. Before machines.
¿Y eso es un privilegio?
Sure fucking is. We have a guild and everything, huh? Very ancient. Very prestigious.
¿Qué es una especie de sindicato?
Hell no. It's a guild. Invitation only. Unions work for the rich fucks. They're basically the same. Been trying to fuck us out of our heritage in the name of profit, but you can't replace experience. Trusting street thugs with their goods is going to fuck them right up the ass. Mark my words. Generations of practice and no laughing matter.
Eso es final de temporada. Bien, no sabe nada. A ver, la jardinera. ¿Tendrá algo para
I
decir?
can't believe it's snowing again. It felt like springtime just a few days ago. Since the street signs messed up?
¿Sé dónde puedo encontrar
Okay.
el representante de William?
What do you need?
¿Dónde estoy?
Wild Pines? You mean the company woman?
A la empresaria. Podremos preguntarle a ella.
Yes, a representative of the harbor. She should have set up operations nearby.
Oh, that must be the woman on the giant boat. There's one docked on the pier. It arrived a couple of weeks ago. It's very hard to miss.
Al noreste. Ok.
No problem.
She's very well composed. Back straight.
No tengo que ir. Ok. Vamos a explorar un poco el mapa antes que nada. A ver. No. Pero. No. Vamos a hablar con esta persona. A ver si nos tiene algo para decir. O tenemos una charla de 40 minutos con él.
I'm a gander and a hunter and a gatherer. Feel like a traveler.
Asentar unos ritmos sobre el mapa.
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes.
Chévere, escuchando, soy la ley. ¿Qué se cosa por aquí?
From another planet. Hey there. It's the jam, my man.
The air from the east is thick with the smell of crude oils, heavy metals and other byproducts of the modern era. You can almost taste it.
Como que es un asco de atasco.
It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating, an all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Upon days.
Y más bien, el limbo, ¿eh? Así que ahí es donde estoy. Entonces, ¿cuánto tiempo llevas aquí?
Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes of mazout.
Mazout is an antiquated term for heavy fuel oils. This man has a barely suppressed performative streak, or he just likes unusual words, or both.
Bueno, tu rollo, colega, una locución extravagante, pero me acostumbraré. No entiendo muy bien lo que acabas de decir. ¿Podrías repetirlo, pero de forma algo menos coherente? ¿Algo menos carrente?
Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already. So tell me, what do you need?
¿Tienes algo suelto para para un currente que no llega a fin de mes? Cuéntame más acerca de esta huelga. ¿Sabes algo sobre el fiambre? Que te tengo que hacer en el patio. ¿Qué transportas?
Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work.
¿A quién quieres?
The bosses, man.
Tiene sentido, primero trabajan y luego pagan. No sé quiénes se creen que son esos jefes, pero parece un buen acuerdo para ellos. Así que estás en la ruina, lo pillo. ¿Qué más tenía que preguntar yo?
Makes sense. It sucks is what it does.
Cuéntame acerca más de esta huelga.
It's like whatever's going on over at the docks. Workers got a blockade set up, making demands, no way in or out.
Going on strike would probably help you dodge a bullet or two.
Quizás deba ponerme en huelga. ¿Cuáles son las exigencias del sindicato?
Some pretty wild stuff, I hear. Like a giant new power crane in half the company? I forget what exactly. Good on them, I guess. I've heard talk there's a company rep in town, too. Like a strike negotiator type. They'd know what's up. Precise demands and so on.
Ah, yes, from the Wild Pines. We'll meet her soon enough, I'm sure.
Quizás deba ponerme en huelga. Así que... No. ¿Qué crees que quiere la empresa?
They want to keep that money flowing in, my man. Ka-ching.
He doesn't blame them, but he's not on their side. That's for sure.
Maybe you should. Cops don't get paid much and the hours are long. Plus, you can get shot. Why not?
The RCM is a self-managing organization that operates on donations. We promote our own leaders. It would be like striking against your own mother.
No conozco a mi madre, pero por mis derechos me pondré en huelga hasta contra ella. Supongo que ahí tienes razón.
Okay, but do continue. You were asking about the strike?
Anything else? Yeah, this ain't really my area of expertise. I just do my job and get paid. I have things to do and places to be. All of us do.
¿Todos quiénes?
Us lorry drivers. Camioners. You still hang around here waiting for this mess to end. Most have scurried off somewhere to get drunk or high. Or laid. Not that I blame them, really. Not my thing. Chasing transient pleasures is a drag these days. I prefer the examined life now. Thinking, reflecting, observing.
Okay.
He tries his best to look nonchalant, but there's a rigidity in him, as if trying to conceal something warm and deep beneath a cool exterior.
¿Sabes sobre el fiambre? Ponme qué es.
He ain't one of us
100%.
drivers. I know that. All accounted for. Otherwise, I haven't really asked about that. Been wasting time right here. Keep him.
It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his nose out of the dark stuff.
¿Ocupado con qué? Muy bien. Importante.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
¿Qué transportas?
High-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like that.
Relax. He's merely joking.
¿Qué es de miedo? Siempre quise tener un amigo en los bajos fondos.
Ha! No, I'm joking, my man. Found runs a nice, clean business. This haul of cargo is mostly sporting goods. You know, tracksuits and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grad and the Occident, though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately.
Entonces no llevas nada de... ¿Esa máquina es tuya? ¿Podrías quedarme con uno de esos chalanes flan que transportas?
This rockin' beauty. Sure is. Like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery?
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands.
Caillou.
This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of found rust bucket. Maybe the A6?
Eso de un fan A6.
Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long time together. We're pals and all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy. Not unless they've illegalized sports equipment while I was on the road.
Vale.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Bueno, eso es todo por ahora. Buena charla.
Don't be a stranger.
Bien. Vamos a explorar un poquito acá y terminamos el capítulo de hoy. A ver qué hay por acá. A ver esto. La palabra Humanox está escrita en negrete por todo el cambio. A ver. Un monumento antiguo se alza en medio del rotondo, desde donde apunta hacia el mar. Parece que lo han ensamblado por pieza por pieza, asegurado y montado en el aire con la ayuda de numerosas cuerdas y barras. ¿Quién es este? Qué raro que capaz que no haya introducido esta parte. A ver, lo leo. Una placa de plata en el pedestal de la estatua reza: soy Felipe III, el derrochador, el mayor de los reyes filipinos de Rebachol, hijo de Felipe II, el opulento, padre de Felipe IV. Digo, cuarto, sí, el demente.
As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chest piece.
Así que el problema normal. ¿Qué es este rey?
Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy.
¿De qué forma?
Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol.
Ah, perfecto.
His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy during the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy of the Insulindian Isola.
¿Cómo se les arregló para despilfarrar todo el tesoro nacional? Con eso me basta. Tengo otras preguntas. Evitar el conocimiento sigue. No.
Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber, where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry, armor, and various chalices.
O sea, se choró todo lo que pudo prácticamente.
There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person.
Me gustaría dormir sobre oro, como un triunfador. El rey es el rey, y puede hacer cualquier cosa. Espera, ¿en serio? No creo. Una farsa de programa. No es de extraña que todo se fuera a la mierda.
But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction.
¿Cómo?
You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of
Nifador de gasolinas. ¿Qué son las gasolinas para la nariz? Esto es mucho que procesar. Así que era adicto a las gasolinas para la nariz. Un drogadicto de tomo y lomo, ¿eh?
That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian Bay. Beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum.
¿Qué le pasó a la estatua?
The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled. Most historians think the coalition's hasty landing may have ultimately saved the statue. If the communards had more time, they would have reduced it up to even finer pieces.
¿Quién restauró el monumento?
Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of Revachol in the poorest part of the city.
Despilfarrador de Revachol.
The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit.
De verdad que no entiendo el arte.
Neither do people in Martinez. The statue has proved to be controversial in a neighborhood mostly populated by the left-leaning working class. Those critics might have it wrong, though. There's more to it than just ironism, but you can't say what precisely. Perhaps this art mystery will be solved at a later time. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death.
Continúa.
Not that he ever did in life either. Something with great kinetic energy seems to have impacted the cuirass, around where the heart is.
¿Una bala?
Someone shot him in the heart. Interesting.
Teniente, le ha disparado a alguien al rey, si no Legenda de Horas.
Okay, I can't see it, but I take your word for it.
¿Qué te parece?
Well, Martinez is riddled with bullet holes. This place saw a lot of action during the revolution. But the statue is recently renovated, so maybe a joke? Target practice or a political statement?
Prácticas de tiro. Política. Es un rey y van y le disparan. ¿Ninguna de las anteriores tendrá algo que ver con el asesinato?
If we connect every bullet hole in Martinez to the murder, we'll get an overwhelming amount of loose threads. But then again, we don't really know what we are dealing with here, so... I've made a note. Don't hold your breath.
The king stands high above you, surveying the bay, mute and indifferent to your sightings.
Bien. Todo bueno el capítulo. En el próximo, en el comienzo, vamos a emborracharnos y cantar en el karaoke. Así que, justo, un autoguardo, así que mejor imposible. Si les ha gustado el capítulo, no sé, hablar de me cuesta una banda. Bueno, espero que les haya gustado el capítulo de Elusium. Hasta acá, les hablo Capitan Hiroshima y nos vemos en el siguiente capítulo.